And this market is going to come down. It's going to be the biggest crash in world history because pensions are the biggest problem in the world. And in 1999, I said in 2016, the market would crash. But it didn't crash. And there's many reasons why it didn't crash. One reason was I didn't foresee quantitative easing.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would print that much money. I still can't believe it. I couldn't believe interest rates would go below zero. So that's why it didn't crash. And what's real money is gold and silver. You know, gold and silver are God's money. God made them. I'm not really religious, but God made that money. Unlike Bitcoin, unlike the dollar or the peso or the yen. But who's told my pension just came out, and because where that's affecting us is the real reason the prophecy is real, is because the pensions are crashing. And when I came back from Vietnam, I was 25 years old, about your age. My poor dad was poor. I just come back from Vietnam. He was unemployed. He had no job. He had no paycheck, and he had no pension. And he had a PhD. He didn't know anything. So that's why the Rich Dad company was founded, you know, some years later, is because I had to prove I knew what I was doing so I could get rich without a job, without paychecks, without a pension. And that's why the Rich Dad company was founded, because with the right financial education, this crash would be the best thing that ever happened to you. But if you're thinking like my poor dad, PhD, poor, helpless, and desperate, you'll probably be just like him.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because you have Uber is a complete stock market scam. You have WeWork, you have Peloton. Those are all your generation stocks, and they're complete shams. But they make a lot of money right now. So the reason I'm saying this is your greatest asset is this, your brain. Okay, so going back again 25 years, 50 years now, when I graduated from school, when I was 25 years old, all of my friends wanted high-paying jobs. So I get out of the Marine Corps, and what many of my classmates did, they went to fly for United Airlines. So they made a lot of money. For them, it was a lot of money. It was about $400,000 a year. I didn't take that route. Instead, I went to work for Xerox to learn how to sell. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you've got to sell. So when I say that to most people, they say, well, I don't want to sell. So you're not going to learn that way. Then I had to learn how to public speak. Then I learned to write books and all this. So I get richer and richer and richer as the economy goes down. So all of you listening right now, this is your greatest asset. And you have a chance. Because while your classmates are crashing and burning, you might go the other way, because most of my classmates are broke right now. My friends who are captains for United Airlines, their pensions disappeared, I think, in 2009 or 10. Got wiped out. So the biggest thing here is that what I say to young people is invest in this here, because that's all I did. So ladies and gentlemen, Rich Dad was founded back in 1997, which is, I don't know how many years, 22 years now. But the reason is we believe in teaching people to fish. Our school system teaches you to give people. And there's 20% of the population, it's the 80-20 rule, it's called Pareto's Law. 80% versus 20%. So 80% of the people need to learn how to fish. 20% need to be given fish. The problem is what Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all these socialists and communists are saying, they're good people. I agree with them. But the number of people who need to be given fish only increases. So you can listen to the school teachers who say that we should take care of the poor, and we should, but not by giving them money. It's our school system. We're still teaching people to work for money and give poor people money. And there's 20% that needs to be given money, but the rest of you can do something. People say, what can I do? Well, everybody can go out and buy silver right now. Silver price went down today.
Yeah.
It's good news. It's less than 20 bucks. Everybody in the world can afford 20 bucks. But again, out of the 100, only 2 might buy silver. The other thing is, what am I investing in? I'm still in real estate. You know why? Interest rates are so low. The housing prices are high. That's why there's a bubble in property. But I'm building old age homes right now, called senior living for me. As Kim says, she's reserved the penthouse for me. It's a big market. And in 2020 to 2030, there'll be 2 billion old guys like me turning 65.
And
2 billion all over the world. The last thing I want to say is this. It's the biggest opportunity in the history of the world. This is not the only time this has happened. And, this has happened throughout history. My concern is it is the end of the American Empire. And because that's what happened with the end of the Roman Empire. And what happened at the end of the Roman Empire, the leaders of Rome debased the currency. They were taking silver coins and gold coins, they were filing them and melting them and doing all these goofy things. They were fighting wars, we're still fighting wars that we couldn't afford, they couldn't afford. And they started taxing the worker. And back in Roman times, the worker was the farmer or the yeoman. And so the government, those fat asses up there, were just taxing the crap out of the worker. And pretty soon the worker says, why should I work? Because, I've got to just keep giving my money to the government. And pretty soon they call them Roman circuses, so they're the big coliseums, and they were feeding lions, people to lions and all that other stuff. Today we have the Super Bowl and the March Madness, and everything's the same, it's the same. So when the thing crashed in 2020 in March, the debt went up and the GDP, the gross domestic product, went down. So that's what I was saying. So we produce less, but we raised the debt up. So debt went up, GDP went down. And if this coronavirus comes back, which I think it will, we're bankrupt. And very simply is because our Federal Reserve Bank, our Treasury, and our government has messed up the US dollar so much that they have to find a way to keep people happy. And so they want to just, quote unquote, print money, which they are doing. So the stimulus money they print, everybody says, oh God, it's because of they shut the economy down and this and that. Everybody says, yeah, so they're going to give me PPP and all of this stuff. So just remember this, that money comes from production. And when we pay people not to produce, which is PPP and all that, we're just paying them not to revolt. And that's what happened during the Roman times. And so that's why I say it's the end of the American Empire, because our money is corrupt. So that's basically it. Now, would I take the money? Absolutely. We're talking about, don't fight the government, don't fight the Fed, don't fight politics. If they're going to give me $1,000, I'll take it, but I would convert it into either gold, silver, or Bitcoin. You see, every time you get a hot little dollar or a peso or a yen or a yuan in your hand, you have the power to determine what you do with it. And the more the government pay, and this is globally, it's not just the US, or it's not a racial thing. They're just paying everybody not to work today. Because the monetary system is coming apart. But you've got to be smarter than the government, which is not that hard to do. And, like when the Fed talks about stimulus checks, well, the only people that get rich are Bezos and Zuckerberg. They got all that money for free. It goes into them via BlackRock, a hedge fund, and it goes straight into Wall Street. And then the guys who own Facebook and Amazon get rich. So gold, silver, Bitcoin, they're not the answer, but they're kind of an insurance policy against the incompetence of our leaders. The Federal Reserve Bank is a socialist or a communist organization, but they'll never tell you that. The more I studied it, when I was about 25 years old, I started studying this stuff, and the more I studied, the more I felt I needed a shower. They were just lying to me. So just remember, when this guy Jerome Powell, I call him the Wizard of Oz, but he's the Federal Reserve Chairman. They're a bunch of criminals, and they know it, but they won't tell you that. Jerome Powell only makes $208,000 a year. I can make that a week. And he's dealing with guys like me who can outsmart him, outrun him, outgun him. You know, he's dealing with entrepreneurs. So that's why, you know, I say to your generation, with that iPhone, become an entrepreneur. You know, so you don't need the job security. Nothing wrong with it, but you don't want to need it, and you don't need the UBI. You don't need the paycheck. If you can get off of needing that paycheck, you're free. You can make your own money. That's the difference. Most school teachers, they're like my parents. They're good people. They're functionally poor people, so they'll do whatever you tell them to do. But it's still up to you what you're going to do with the money, what you're going to do with your future.